Real quick, just stepping in to remind everyone that I have a movie channel. Check out my movie channel if you want. It's Jackson Kruger Movies. The link is in the description below, so if you're tired of just hearing my bad sports takes and want to also hear some bad movie takes, make sure you check that out. Again, link is in the description below. All right, let's talk about Devon Witherspoon, the very hyped up prospect coming out of the draft in the 2023 NFL draft, who had a really good rookie year. And I think it's an interesting question to talk about just how good is he now and how good can he get. So that's what I'm going to do in this video. And so yeah, without further ado, let's just get into it. Starting off with a play like this is definitely something you really notice with Witherspoon. It's just how much ground he can cover and how quickly he can cover this ground. Where it's a 3rd down and 7 situation for the Arizona Cardinals. And, Cardinals didn't always have the best receiving core last year. So what the Seahawks are doing is, well, putting stress on their corners. They're trusting their corners to win. But here's where the issue arises, is you have someone like Witherspoon who, you see the route that he's supposed to cover right here. It's a difficult route, right? Cover 0, having that more over the middle route, that's just difficult. So while in theory, hey, it's an easier matchup, sometimes easier matchups end up being tougher matchups due to being put in tougher situations. And when his play begins, you can see that, again, through really no fault of Witherspoon's own, he's actually doing a pretty good job at reading this play quickly and getting over. But you can also see why the ball is going to be thrown in this direction, because it feels like there's an opportunity to make this play work. Keep in mind the situation here. It is a 3rd down and 7. So Cardinals trying to gain 7 yards, but they're in their own territory deep enough that, probably not going to go for it, even if they get it to like a 4th and 1. Kyler throws this one over the middle, and look at Witherspoon really cover a lot of ground, and he does make the tackle and gets the receiver out of bounds before he can pick up a 1st down. That's just really good play from Witherspoon, and these are the types of things you do notice from watching him play, is he reads plays quickly and covers ground quickly and makes tackles quickly. Like this one's another one where it's going to be a zone coverage concept, and you see Witherspoon's, area here. It's that, one I've circled in white. That's where he's covering. But a couple of these routes are going to not really be what he has to cover. He has help further deep. So if 2 routes running past him, he has to cover them for a certain point for the beginning part of this play, but then he doesn't have to. And when it begins, you can kind of see that Arizona is actually taking advantage of that a little bit. They do push Witherspoon a little bit further back, but that's really designed to get another player open. That guy, the underneath route, flip it over to him, and hopefully you can gain some yards. That's the way that ideally this could work for Arizona. Witherspoon, though, is not the easiest guy to do this with. Watch as this throw is in that direction, and Witherspoon comes in, and it doesn't make a perfect tackle, but he did such a good job of coming in. He still stops them short on a, what was a 2nd down and 3. They still are not quite able to pick up the 1st down. Again, largely due to him just making up a lot of ground very quickly. Also heading over to a play like this one where he's going to be essentially in a one-on-one matchup. It's a one-on-one matchup with a potential touchdown on the line if you can't win this. So, okay, pretty key situation. You see the Arizona receiver is going to kind of go towards the outside, but is making a little fake right here. Hopefully you can kind of fool Witherspoon into thinking you're going for more of an out route or over the middle route. So then when you run deep, the hope is that there could be a little bit of a window if Kyler is throwing in that direction. Worth mentioning, that's not what's happening. Kyler's looking in a different direction, so this, doesn't really matter, but it's still interesting. And you see, there was maybe a bit of space, but I don't think there was a ton of space. And sometimes for a corner, it's less about making sure that you completely have covered it altogether, and more about just making sure that you don't give up a massive window and you make things really difficult on a quarterback. Quite frankly, I think if Kyler was looking in that direction, I still don't think he makes that throw. I don't think it was open enough. And it feels like Witherspoon kind of has a bit of a play style where he's comfortable with giving up a little bit of separation. So that's not necessarily something he's afraid of, and I think that's a good thing. Like this play is another one of what I'm talking about, where it's going to be a man coverage concept, and once again, you see the route that Witherspoon is covering. You know, the route on screen, that's the one Witherspoon is going to cover, and watch what happens. Again, when this play begins, kind of like that last play, pretty good move by the receiver. Witherspoon created some contact to slow the receiver down a bit, but you see that there appears to be a bit of separation on this 3rd down and 8 situation. And so, at first glance, you could say, oh no, he's getting beat a little bit. But I actually don't really think that's what's happening. I think Witherspoon is very intentionally knowing how much space he can give up here. Because watch how when his finishes, if that throw went in that direction, Witherspoon's stepping in front and probably getting an interception. Like, that throw was not going to go in that direction. It just wasn't. So again, I think that just kind of understanding how much space he can give, that's a really difficult thing for a young corner to pull off. And he already has it pulled off pretty well. So that's certainly, I would say, very good. And then there's also just stuff like this where it's going to be a, screen pass. So you have a couple of routes running, more setup routes, get the defensive backs for Seattle further deep. Again, Witherspoon, the guy who I have circled in black here. Watch how when this play begins. You see, though, Witherspoon reads this so well. I mean, look at him already coming in. And really, this is the main reason I wanted to show this play, is just because of how well he makes his reads. When the play continues, it's not like he was, making a great tackle or anything because there was offensive linemen in the way. Although he still did a pretty good job, I would say, of helping out. And, well, I don't think he got credit for a tackle on that play. Still, making his impact felt on the screen game. So all these little things really do add up over the course of a game, and especially over the course of a season. So yeah, I mean, as a whole, I think that he's a good player. I think he's a very good player. I think that you could, maybe one of the critiques you could throw at him is that there has been some weaker moments where you've seen him, get beat. You've seen guys be able to make catches. But again, that's everyone. That's the NFL, is you don't always win 100% of the time. It is sometimes difficult to, you don't have an 100% success rate. You just don't. That's the life of being a corner. But I think that his success rate is very strong. He very rarely gives up significant separation, and honestly, oftentimes doesn't give up any separation at all. I do, though, think that my favorite thing about Witherspoon is not the lack of separation given up. Well, that's certainly very good, and you're not going to be a very good corner if you're giving up separation often. I think my favorite thing about him is how quick he makes his reads and how just aware he is. The best players in football are the smartest players in football, right? If you're able to read plays and figure out what's going on, to me, that is what's valuable, and especially when you factor in the guy's just a rookie doing this. Usually processing is something that just takes time to develop, which makes sense, right? The NFL game, everyone's so much faster, things move so much quicker. A lot of times, there's a bit of a learning curve for defensive backs. So to see him kind of already at this point in his rookie year does make you wonder, can he continue to just get better as his career goes along? Not how it always works, right? Sometimes a guy is good at a thing like that and then just stays good at that for the rest of their, career. But even if that's the case, that's not the worst thing in the world because he's good at it. But there definitely is, I would say, room for growth with Witherspoon, even though, even if there isn't room for growth, he's still pretty good. So, yeah, those are kind of my thoughts on Devon Witherspoon and what he brings to Seattle. And I'm interested in seeing where his career goes from here. Let me know in the comments below, what are your thoughts on his game? Always love hearing from ya. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.